Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jon Schreibfeder. I'm president of a company called Effective Inventory Management, and we are here today to discuss, is a barcoding system right for my distribution business? Actually, I should say your distribution business. Why would we want to implement a barcoding solution? Well, this is part of a plan, part of a very important plan to achieve effective inventory management in your distribution business. What do I mean by effective inventory management? Well, this is going to allow you, first of all, to meet or exceed your customers' expectations of product availability. But you're going to do that with the amount of each item that's going to maximize your net profits or minimize your total inventory investment. Now, how can a barcoding solution help you in this effort? Well, it's going to make your employees more productive, improve inventory accuracy, and provide value-added services to your customers. This all sounds very, very good, but is barcoding worth the cost? Well, we're going to explore both the benefits and the costs in this next hour or so. With the costs, we're looking at printing the barcode labels for all of your bin locations in your facility. Now, by a bin location, I'm saying any place where you store material, whether it's actually on a shelf, a pallet rack, on the floor, anywhere where you store material, we're going to consider that a bin location. If you're going to implement a barcoding solution, you have to affix a barcoding label to each of those storage locations. You're also going to have some facility for printing barcode labels for the products that you receive that don't have a proper barcode. Okay? Then we have the cost of the actual hardware and software. Your barcode readers, the electronics that allow you to communicate between those barcode readers and your computer system, the software for your computer system to utilize the barcoding system. Okay? Finally, and a very important expense that we're going to be talking about, training your employees to use the new system. Now, before we get into the actual costs and the cost justification, let's just review some of the benefits you're going to receive by implementing a barcoding solution. And I want to do this by comparing a manual system without barcodes to a system that utilizes barcodes. Now, if you don't have barcodes in receiving, you have to manually verify that the material received was actually ordered with paper documents. You've probably seen your receiving clerks out there with a pen or a pencil checking things off of a packing slip or your copy of the purchase order. Then the stock receipts have to be manually entered into the computer system in order to update your on-hand quantities. Okay? After we do that, we have to wait to see what material that was just received can be used to fill existing orders, something that we call cross-docking. Okay? All of this takes time. And when we're manually entering count quantities, stock receipts into your computer system, we also have questions of accuracy. What happens if the clerk types in a wrong number? You have problems. Now let's look to see in a barcoding system what the advantages are. Well, the shipments are verified as the material is scanned. You don't have to worry about the stock clerk picking the wrong item or misidentifying an item that was received because the items are verified by the barcode. Stock receipts are then automatically posted in your computer system, updating your on-hand quantities. Not only is this faster, but you remove the prospect of miskeying a quantity or miskeying a part number. But very, very, very importantly, as the material is scanned, the receiving clerk can be notified what quantities of what products that were just received can be used to fill existing stock orders. In receiving, barcode allows you to be faster and more accurate. Well, let's move on to the put-away function. This is the process of moving material from your receiving dock to the storage bin where it's going to be held until it's sold or used. In a manual system, one without barcodes, there's no verification the material is placed in the right location. You're counting on your receiving clerk to know exactly where material should be stored, and it's nearly impossible to track the actual quantity of a product in multiple locations. We know that we have 100 pieces of a product in our warehouse, but they can be in maybe 5 different bin locations. We don't know how many of the product is in each of those 5 bin locations. One of the biggest benefits of barcoding is it eliminates or greatly reduces what we call treasure hunts. That's when all of your warehouse employees are looking for an item that they know is in your warehouse, but no one can find it. Okay? Also, in the put-away function, barcodes assist you in ensuring that your stock is rotated properly. The first in is actually the first out. Very important if you're dealing with dated products. Okay? As I said, the system in barcodes is going to help you save time and rotate your stock. In order picking, our next activity in the warehouse, under a manual system, the item on a paper pick ticket, a paper document, is compared to the material on the shelf for manual verification. Again, you're counting on the picker, the person filling orders, knowing that he or she is actually taking the right item to fill the orders. The pickers manually count the quantities of items, and then the completed pick ticket is manually entered into your computer system to relieve stock, to reduce your on-hand quantities, and create an invoice. Okay? Takes time, and again, you can see there are opportunities for error. A barcode system, items and bins are scanned to ensure that you are picking the right quantity of the right item from the right bin. And as soon as you actually remove material from the bin, the operator knows, the computer system knows that that quantity has been removed from the bin, and your computer records are updated automatically. Barcoding can also automatically create invoices and other shipping documents that you need to send material out to a customer. One of the things that I want to emphasize is the difference between what we call RF barcode systems, RF stands for radio frequency, and RFID barcoding systems. For the most part right now, distributors are looking at RF barcoding systems, radio frequency barcoding systems. A radio frequency barcoding system is one where the barcode readers are in constant communication with your computer system by means of radio waves. Okay? As soon as someone takes something off the shelf, they key in the quantity, the item is actually scanned with the barcode, and your computer system is updated. RFID is a different type of system. In an RFID system, the barcodes themselves are placed on each item, and those barcodes have an electronic chip that allows the system to track the actual physical location of every piece of the product in your facility. RFID sounds wonderful. Unfortunately, it is far too expensive for most distributors to implement. There are some very good applications for RFID technology. You may have a toll tag on your car, so when you pass through a toll booth, you're automatically charged the price of the toll. That's a good application for RFID technology. RFID technology, as I said, very expensive, usually far more expensive than a typical distributor can afford to implement practically. So we will be able to verify that we're picking the right product with RF barcodes, but still we're relying on the picker to count the right quantity. Now you can utilize automated scales, other technology like that, to verify quantities, but we still have to have that as a concern. One of the other benefits of implementing barcodes is shipment verification. Once you have picked an item, once you've staged it, making sure that that item gets on the right delivery truck or making sure that it is shipped by the correct means of transportation. Under a manual system, this is done manually, and it's very easy for the box or the shipment going to the customer to land up on the wrong truck. Under barcodes, barcodes are affixed to the outside of the package to ensure the proper routing. One of the biggest advantages that we have seen recently utilizing this technology is in the airline industry. Yes, airlines still lose luggage, but they lose far less luggage today in the year 2012 than they did 15, 20 years ago when barcodes weren't put on the luggage tags when you check your luggage in at the airport. Those luggage tags include the specific routing that each piece of luggage should take to get to its final destination. Physical inventory and cycle counting. Counting your inventory to verify that you have the right quantity of the right item, making sure that the quantities in your computer system agree with what's in your warehouse, is a very time-consuming process. In utilizing a manual system, you can also be subject to inaccuracies. Inaccuracies, as we saw with those other transactions. Under a manual system, one product may be mistaken for a similar item. The counter may record the quantity of one product in the space on the count sheet reserved for a different item. Okay. Again, we have our entry problems, where an operator keying in quantities from a manual count sheet might mistype a number. They might add an extra zero. Okay? Often countings are necessary during a manual physical inventory. One person counts, the other person records. You need twice as many people as you would need if only one person was needed to count each product. And a very time-consuming task, reconciliation of the counts. This must be performed after all counts have been completed in a manual system. This is where the system tells you that the quantity in the computer system is different than what was actually counted. Now, in an automated barcode system, we know that the right item is being counted because the barcode on the bin is compared to the barcode on the count sheet. The barcode on the bin is compared to the barcode in the barcode reader. The automatic verification that we are counting the right item eliminates the need for count teams. One person can be out there counting. The system tells them what the next item is to count. It appears on their barcode reader. They scan the bin to be sure that they're counting the right item, and they key in the number. On-hand quantities, automatically updated. There's no re-entry. Again, faster, more accurate. Okay? And just as important, if the system disagrees, tells the counter you have more or less than you just recorded, or we think you have more or less than you just recorded, the feedback can be automatic. While the counter is at the bin, the system's going to tell him or tell her that the item needs to be recounted to verify that they counted the right quantity. We've listed a lot of good features in barcoding systems, but there are other features in a good barcoding system. Well, we can monitor employee productivity. We have people now paying their warehouse workers based on how productive they are. This is easy to do, easy to measure productivity with barcode readers. We know how many transactions they've processed. We know how much time they've spent doing specific tasks. Facilitates serial number and lot tracking. You don't have to be writing down numbers. You can scan them, making sure that we accurately record the serial number or the lot number of the material that's being shipped or receives. This also allows distributors to provide value-added services to customers, affixing barcodes on the shipments going to their facilities that tell them how and where the material should be used or put away. Many, many, many good features in a barcode system. And barcoding is just one element of a warehouse management system. Warehouse management system, or WMS system, will help you suggest where products should be placed to minimize the cost of filling orders and maximize space utilization in your facility. It will direct your pickers to do what we call wave or zone picking. Wave picking is where they pick several orders at one time as they go through the warehouse. Zone picking is typically used in larger facilities where we have pickers, order pickers, assigned to specific areas of the warehouse. They pick material that is stored in their areas, send it all down to a staging area, and the material picked from several different zones in the warehouse is reassembled and shipped out to the customer. To further facilitate warehouse productivity, a good WMS system will direct people in the warehouse to both put away stock and pick orders at the same time. Basically, it's saying, Charlie, while you're putting away these 2 pallets of material in the far end of the warehouse, bring back this material stored in a nearby location that's needed for a current outgoing order. This works, again, very, very well. But, of course, there are costs involved in implementing barcoding. We looked at these before. Let's review them again. Buying the actual barcode readers and other necessary hardware. This is what you typically think of when you think of the cost of implementing a barcoding solution. But there are other costs. You have to interface the new system to your current computer system. You have to print barcode labels, affix them to the storage locations in your warehouse, and print barcode labels for products that are not received with the appropriate barcode label. You have to buy printers and have the facilities and capabilities to do this. You have implementation costs. What is the barcoding solution provider going to charge you to implement the system in your facility, training your employees? A very real cost. Not only the actual cost of the training, but when you implement a barcode solution, you're going to find that your productivity drops for a week or two as you get used to the new system. This is a real cost. There are hardware and support contracts. You have new hardware, you have new software, it needs to be supported. Okay? So, how do we determine if barcoding is right for your company? Well, we have to look. Can we increase business with the same amount of labor that we have in our warehouse? Can we decrease our warehouse labor? Can we reduce our payroll in the warehouse? Can we decrease our inventory investment because barcoding is going to allow us to be more accurate and, as a result, know better what's in our warehouse? We're going to have more accurate on-hand quantities. Because we make fewer mistakes, customers are going to be more satisfied. Can we measure that? Okay. I want you, as you consider whether or not to implement a barcode solution, to define your problems in the areas we just discussed: receiving, put away, order picking, physical inventory, other issues. Where do you see problems? Where do you feel, based on what we just discussed, barcoding can give you a competitive advantage? Okay? I want you to visit similar distributors to yours that have implemented barcode solutions with your computer software. Very important. There are many different barcoding solutions available. We've counted over 130 barcoding solutions that are available. Okay? We want to be sure that the barcoding solution that you consider interfaces well with your current computer system, your current ERP enterprise system. Okay? You don't want to be the first one to try to integrate a barcoding solution with your current computer system, because it's a very difficult process. As you visit similar distributors, discuss the savings. And I want to go back a second. I forgot to say something about the visit. A visit where you actually see what's going on, much better than just talking to people over the phone or discussing the advantages through emails. You want to see for yourself how barcoding is working in their organization. While you're there, as I said, discuss the savings, the process improvements that they've received. And then, with this information, you can calculate your costs in saving from implementing the new barcode system. Here's a sample system that one of our customers implemented. Now, barcoding systems, as I say here, can range in cost from a couple of $1,000s to well into the six figures. You want to have the right system for your organization, but you don't want to overpay. So if several systems have been integrated with your computer software, consider all of them. Not only consider the cost of the hardware and software, but your warehouse preparation. Okay? You may have to modify certain equipment in the warehouse in order to get radio waves going correctly, where we can have the barcode readers be effective in every corner of your warehouse. The implementation. What is the barcode provider going to charge you to implement their system? The training of your people. The annual support contract. All of this added together will give you your total cost. And we have to see if we can justify that total cost. Will the new system pay for itself with cost savings and improved productivity in 12 to 18 months? Now, in our example, the average annual labor per person for the company that was considering this $54,700 barcode investment was $24,960 per year. That includes salary, benefits, everything. And the company currently fills 57,855 orders per year. Now, let's take a look. If they visited several other companies, and these companies said, yes, we implemented barcoding, and we eliminated one position in our warehouse. We eliminated one position. Well, $54,700 divided by that $24,960, it's going to take 2.2 years, 26.4 months to pay for the system. In most technical expenditures, most technical investments, when you invest in new technology, we typically want to see a payback in no more than 12 to 18 months. So if I could only eliminate one position, if through experience of others we see a new system will only eliminate one position, it's not going to pay for itself. But if I could eliminate two positions, well, that's a total of $49,920 in labor savings. I'm down to a 1.1 year payback time, 13.2 months. That would pay for the system. But many distributors don't like to eliminate positions. I say here, consider the political considerations. They don't want to eliminate people. They want to employ everyone who's currently employed. They want to grow their business. That's your business philosophy. You have to pay for the new system with better service to your customer or improved productivity. Okay? Now, as we visited another distributor using this system, this distributor using the proposed system and the same ERP system, the same accounting system, reported that the new barcoding system allowed them to fill 23% more orders per day with the same amount of labor. Okay? Now, they were a similar distributor, same types of products, same number of lines per order. If Acme, and I'm going to use Acme as the name as our sample company, would implement this system, they might have the potential to fill 23% more orders, or a total of 71,162 orders per year. They could fill that many more orders with the same amount of labor. But would this be a good investment? Well, we have to analyze our warehousing costs. In order for you to understand whether this will be a good investment or not, you have to calculate two things: your cost of carrying inventory and your cost of filling orders. All of your warehouse expenses can be divided into those two categories. Now, the cost of carrying inventory, this is the cost of maintaining inventory in your warehouse. It includes all the costs involved in receiving and maintaining stock in your facility. This includes it includes the cost of putting away stock receipts, moving material within your warehouse, insurance on your inventory, rent and utilities for the portion of your warehouse used to store material, counting your products, shrinkage and obsolescence, and finally, the opportunity cost of the money invested in inventory. If you are borrowing money to pay for your inventory, this is your interest expense. If you're using corporate funds, this is what those funds could be used, or what return those funds could receive in another investment. We divide all of those costs by the average inventory investment to get your cost of carrying inventory. This is expressed as a percentage, usually for most of you somewhere between 16 and 23% per year, meaning it costs you anywhere from 16 cents to 23 cents to maintain a dollar's worth of inventory in your warehouse for an entire year. Now, on our website, effectiveinventory.com, we have a questionnaire that you can fill out to calculate your carrying costs. We invite you to do this. This is a service we provide. There's no cost, no obligation. Okay? If we get your cost of carrying inventory, all of the other costs that you incur in your warehouse are involved in filling orders. This includes labor, shipping supplies, depreciation and insurance, financed equipment, freight and delivery that you're going to absorb. We get a total. Okay? Right now, if we consider all of the costs involved in filling orders, it is costing Acme, our sample customer, $6.32 to fill and deliver an average 4-line order. Okay? Their average order has 4 lines on it. Okay? Now, Acme has 5 full-time pickers. There are 10,000 hours to pick orders every year. 8 hours a day times 250 days a year times 5 pickers, that's 10,000 orders. Right now, a picker can pick 5.78 orders per hour. That translates to about 10 and a half minutes. That's where they are right now. Now, if they implement a barcoding solution, they're going to see greater productivity. But is that greater productivity going to pay for the new system? That's the question we have to address. We're going to do a time and motion study for the customer. When we did this, we found that filling an order, 2/3 of the time was spent pulling material. 1/3 of the time was spent actually packing and staging the order for shipment. So if we take that $6.32 per order cost, that means $2.10 for a 4-line order was spent packing and staging the order, and $1.05 was spent actually pulling the line items. When we did this process, we actually created a chart showing Acme what it cost to fill different sized orders. Now, remember, we said the implementation of the new system would cost $54,700. Okay? That means we could fill 71,162 orders a day instead of the current 57,855 orders a day. Well, if we implemented the new system, we would save 67 cents per average order in labor. Okay? Same labor expense. Either way, with the new system or without the new system. So if we divide the $207,352 by 57,855 orders, we get $3.58 per order. If we increase that to 71,162 orders, the cost per order is reduced to $2.91. Now, saving 67 cents per order, okay, it's going to take 81,652 orders to pay for the new system. Wow, 81,642 orders to pay for the new system. If we are filling 5,930 orders per month, so do 1,162 divided by 12, it's going to take 12.8 months to pay for the new technology. Okay? Remember I said we're looking at a payback, hopefully somewhere between 12 and 18 months at most. So with greater productivity, we will be able to pay for the system in a reasonable amount of time. This assumes that we have the potential increase in volume. We have the potential new demand to increase our order productivity, the number of orders we shipped, by 23%. Now, as you consider a new barcoding solution, understand that new technology always isn't better for you. Less productivity can result from too much technology. We've seen many cases where people have implemented new technology and it has actually decreased the productivity of their employees. This is why I say you want to see it in action at another firm. Technology may not be cost effective. If you see a payback in more than 18 months, it probably is not a good idea. You have to consider training costs, possible disruption of your business. But regardless, before you implement new technologies, please get your house in order. Clean up your current policies and procedures. Implement low technology solutions first. These tend to have the best payback. What do I mean by that? Well, let's start by making sure that all your material movement is properly recorded. People don't take material out of your warehouse without properly recording it. I want you to document procedures, paperwork for every type of material movement. Make sure that your people do not continue to perform what we call sloppy procedures. What do I mean by that? Well, substituting one product for another without properly recording it, or taking an item back, giving another item to a customer on a no paperwork swap. The idea is, well, they both cost the same amount, we'll save the paperwork. That messes up your inventory. That's going to mess up your inventory even with barcoding. Stop doing it. Make sure that your salespeople, other employees, don't give away samples without paperwork. Establish a sample account for every employee that might take material out of your warehouse to show a customer. Your policy has got to be no material leaves your warehouse without proper paperwork. Here are just some of the transactions you want to be sure are documented as to how your company is going to perform them. I want to concentrate on a couple of them. Just, for example, adjustments. Okay? Adjustments are when someone corrects the on-hand quantity in your computer system. They find more than the computer said you had. That's a positive adjustment. They don't have what the system said you had. That's a negative adjustment. Your inventory will not evaporate into thin air. If someone is making an adjustment, there's got to be a reason behind it. If they find more than your computer system said you had, in all probability, someone is substituting one product for another without recording it properly, and you're going to find an offsetting quantity in another item. Either that or someone isn't processing stock receipts properly. In any case, you have to correct the situation. I want you to have an easy way for your employees to record scrap. When they find something that's damaged or they damage it themselves, it has to be taken out of your active inventory. If you don't have good policies and procedures for making sure that all material receipts, all material movement, all material disbursements are properly recorded, you will not be successful with any system, including a barcoding system. Okay? Now, what we found is that no matter how good we get policies and procedures, there will always be an exception why someone couldn't properly record something when it was being shipped or even when it was being received. Maybe you have a power outage. Your computer system is down. You're not going to stop doing business. You're going to continue to ship material, maybe at a greatly reduced rate, but you're still going to ship material. but you need to be sure that it is properly recorded. This is why we always ask people to put clipboards near every exit to your warehouse. This is a low-tech solution. If, for whatever reason, an employee cannot record a material disbursement in the computer system, they record it on the clipboard. Very easy. Date, quantity, item, the reason they're taking the material, and their name. Okay? We will, when the computer system comes back up, record these entries as transactions in the computer system. But you have to have a rule in your organization that all material movement is properly recorded, and if something isn't properly recorded, you consider it to be stolen. It is theft. This is the way you will be successful. Now, you also have to understand, in your warehouse, every item needs a home. In assigning its home, you have to consider what is the appropriate storage unit: shelves, pallet racks, other type of racking, a floor area. How much space do you have to assign to that item, and where should that space be located in your facility? Okay? I want you to assign and use bin locations as you prepare to implement a barcoding solution. This isn't something that you might want to do. This is absolutely necessary. Label floor areas, aisles, shelving units, shelves. As I said before, a bin is any designated storage location. You want to make the system easy to understand, easy to follow. With a good system, a new employee can be productive on his or her second day of employment. Okay? What I mean by good bin location systems, ones that are easy to understand. I like modular systems. Here you see I have item A121-002 is stored in bin A030304. Okay? What is bin A030304? It's in section A, the third aisle, the third shelving unit, fourth shelf from the bottom. I know exactly where that material is going to be stored. I want to be able to tell anyone to go out to my warehouse and find the product. Now, in a warehouse, you're going to have three types of bin locations. You will have fixed locations, random locations, and you'll also have what we call holding bins. We want to be sure your material handling capabilities can handle not the average workload, but your peak workload. Keep this in mind, particularly when you're considering your barcoding needs. You want to be able to handle your volume of business at your busiest times of the day. These are probably when you first open in the morning and maybe just after lunch for many of you. Okay? Now, fixed locations, those are spaced reserved for a specific product. If the item is out of stock, that space remains empty, awaiting the replenishment shipment. For a lot of you, you're going to be picking orders from what we call the pick face. Okay? Your fixed locations. You might have several fixed locations for a product in a warehouse. Maybe one close to your counter area, another one further back in your facility. Okay? Random locations, different than fixed locations. Random locations can hold any product that is appropriate for that type of storage unit, maybe a shelf, maybe a pallet rack, if that space is empty. If we have pallet racks in our warehouse and we receive 3 pallets of item A100, okay, we might store them in different places in the warehouse. Now, one of the advantages of a barcode system is not only will it keep track of where the material is in the warehouse, but it will keep track of the quantity in each of those 3 locations. So, if we have 25 pieces in one location, 25 pieces in another, and 100 pieces in a third location, and we have a request for 50, the system will direct the picker to go to the one location where he or she can fill the entire quantity in one pick. That would be the bin that had that 100 pieces. Okay? Before you implement barcoding, and if you're using random storage, we suggest you use what we call erasable magnetic labels affixed to the primary location to tell people where any bulk storage, any surplus inventory is stored. If I have a certain amount of space reserved for an item, that's its fixed location, and I fill that up on a stock receipt, and I need to put some maybe on top of the shelving unit or maybe on top of the shelving unit 2 aisles down. If I put a magnetic label at the primary location indicating the location of that surplus stock, my workers can find that surplus stock very quickly. They won't be wandering around the warehouse with their eyes up in the air, looking as though they all have nosebleeds, saying, "We know we have it. Now where is it?" Okay. Once you implement barcoding, this won't be necessary because your system will be tracking the location of every piece of every item in your warehouse. But I also want you to be able to reserve some space for what we call holding bins. Holding bins are used to store material that is not currently available to customers. It may need to be inspected. It may be staged to be returned to a vendor. It may need some rework or repair before it can be sold or used. Or you might have received it in bulk and it needs to be repackaged before it can be sold or used. These are holding bins. You need them. In a good warehouse management system, a good WMS system, material in holding bins, quantities of products in holding bins are included in your on-hand quantity, but the system does not consider them available to be sold or otherwise used. Now, where you store products in your warehouse will also greatly affect your productivity. We discussed many productivity increases, advantages by implementing barcodes, but the biggest productivity increase you're going to have is by storing products properly. Many distributors continue to use what we call a traditional warehouse layout. Similar products are stored next to each other in the warehouse, often in vendor product number sequence. This is very appropriate if you aren't using any automated picking tools or even pick tickets printed by your computer system. When a customer fills their own orders in a retail environment, we need a traditional layout because we need similar items right next to each other. But if you're using pick tickets, even paper pick tickets in your current system, or if you go to barcoding, I want to encourage you to consider using a rank-based storage system. In a rank-based storage system, items aren't stored based on, are they similar to other items? They're stored based on how often they're picked. Items that are picked most often are in the most accessible locations. Items that are picked less frequently are in less accessible locations. Now, you might have several different types of racking in your warehouse, shelving units, pallet racks, etc. I want you to consider each type of racking sort of a mini warehouse within your whole warehouse. You want to identify the most accessible locations in each of those storage units, and you want to take those products that are picked most often, what I call the A-ranked products, and store them in the most accessible locations. If you're looking at shelving units, the most accessible locations are from eye level down to your knees. A fair location, your knees down to the floor. the poorest locations are above your pickers' heads. I'm not saying leave these shelves empty. I'm saying use them for very slow-moving products or for bulk storage for surplus stock. In pallet racks, in most cases, the lower, the better. We want to be picking from the warehouse floor. It's much faster, much more productive. Laying out your warehouse properly is going to increase productivity. You want to spend quite a bit of time making sure your warehouse is organized to facilitate order picking, to be able to pick orders as quickly as possible. Now, we saw before that we wanted to store the fast-moving products in the most accessible locations, what I call this gold A area. I might have a lot of A items. Some of them might be rather bulky. I can't store the entire quantity of those A items in my most accessible locations because I won't be able to store all of the A items in the most accessible locations. So best practice in most cases is to limit the quantity in the picking location, in the pick face, in the fixed bin location, to no more than a 1 to 2 week supply of an A item. We'll replenish stock from bulk storage once, twice a week. Cap it off so our pickers can pick productively. B items, we'll put a 4 or an 8 week supply in the primary location. Any additional stock will be kept in bulk storage, our surplus area. We'll refill those maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks. Your C, your D items, your very slow-moving items, you're going to size the pick location, the fixed location, to hold the entire quantity of those products. Why? Because, first of all, you shouldn't have too much of those products, and secondly, they're already in fairly inaccessible locations in your warehouse. They're not in good locations right now. In addition to bin locations, I want you to consider sort sequence numbers. When you implement a barcoding solution, you can have the system direct your pickers through the warehouse. You don't have to list items in bin location sequence. You can adapt what's called a sort sequence. This will direct your pickers how they should walk through the warehouse to pick their orders. This is the warehouse from one of our clients up in Massachusetts, and you will see that pickers proceed down row A, picking fast-moving products, turn the corner at the end of row A, and proceed down row B in reverse bin location sequence. So 95% of their picking is done just by proceeding down row A, turning the corner, coming back down row B in the opposite direction. The more you plan how your picker should walk through your warehouse, the more productivity gains you will see. Okay? Now, people always ask, how do we know we have enough space in our warehouse? Well, best practice is to slot your warehouse, to plan your space in your warehouse. Your warehouse walls are not elastic. You can only put a certain amount of inventory in your warehouse. How do we determine how much space we need? Well, we'll take the maximum quantity of each item. That's the maximum you might ever have. Subtract the quantity that's going to be in the fixed location, what I call the pick face quantity right now, and divide the result by 2. This is the amount of bulk storage that you might need for an item. Why do I divide by 2? Because you're not going to have the maximum quantity of every item in stock at one time. On average, you're going to be using half the possible surplus bulk storage space you might need for a product. Why do I multiply it by the cubic volume? I'm not concerned about quantities of a product in a warehouse when I'm plotting out space. I'm more concerned about how much space this particular product will take up. Using this methodology, planning how much room I need for my fixed locations, and then using this formula to see how much surplus bulk storage space I might need, I can determine if I have space left over in my warehouse so that my buyers can bring in what we call special buys when a vendor offers them a special deal. Okay? And if we have adequate space for these special deals, we might even leave a bit of space left over for our dead stock while we're waiting to liquidate it. If you don't have enough space for dead stock, liquidate it now. Okay, we've covered a lot in an hour. All of this is designed with the goal of achieving effective inventory management, meeting or exceeding your customers' expectations of product availability with the amount of each item that's going to maximize your profits or minimize your costs. Okay? Can barcoding help you? Well, if you're processing more than, say, 300 line items a day, 100 orders with 3 lines each, in all probability, yes, a barcoding solution will pay for itself in 12 to 18 months by making your employees more productive, improving inventory accuracy, providing value-added services to your customers. But careful planning and analysis is necessary for success. You want to see it in action at a similar distributor. You want to know what your challenges are right now and how barcoding can directly assist you in addressing those challenges. You want to be sure that your barcoding solution will be a success. If you have questions, please let me know. If you'd like to type them into your Q&A box, I'd be happy to address them right now. If not, you have my contact information on your screen, my email address, my phone number as well. I'm going to wait a minute to see if we have any questions. One just came in. Okay. How do I choose a potential barcoding vendor? Okay. Apparently, this distributor, like many, has received many phone calls saying, we have a solution for you. Okay. Again, talk to people who have your computer software. What barcoding solutions are they using? How successful are they? What results are they seeing? Don't reinvent the wheel. There are people who are anxious to be the guinea pigs implementing a new solution. I don't think that's a good idea. You have more to do just running your business. So start there. It'll give you some good ideas. I don't see any other questions right now, so I'm going to say thank you very much for spending this hour with us, and I look forward to talking with you again on our next webinar. Have a good day.